What's up YouTube? Greg P here, showing you a little bit about the HohmWrecker G2. I'm going to talk about Kanthal temp control tonight. It's my first video, you're going to have to bear with me. So, let's talk about overcoming the learning curve with Kanthal temp control. First thing I had to learn was your build quality. It needs to be pretty even for what I'm doing. I'm using it on a dual coil dripper. They say to use it with a tank starting out. Really good advice. Tanks have single coils. Less chance of one coil being higher resistance than the other coil. You know, everything comes into play here. If you're cotton, if you got one piece that's thicker than the other piece, it's all going to come into play with temperature control. It's all very sensitive. And it's very sensitive on this. You can see my G2 is wrapped, but it is the HohmWrecker G2. You can see the screen, I don't know, you can see it good. This is my G2. So, let's talk about how I overcame Kanthal temp control. First thing was setting it to not burn dry cotton. So the best way that I can tell you to do that, put a build in there, put your cotton in there, run it in wattage mode. Vape it until it's dry. I've still got some juice left on these coils, so I'm going to vape for a little while. I've got it set to 40 watts, 400 degrees. You can use the auto temperature control for Kanthal. I like battery saver mode, but anything works, really. It all works the same. The only thing that the 40 watts and the 400 degrees is going to change is my ramp up time, and obviously 400 degrees. So my cotton is already a little bit dry. I can already feel that dry cotton dripper taste and feel. So the first thing is set it to where it cuts off when you start getting those dry hits. The best way to do that is in your FSK menu. So you're going to hit the menu button and the two buttons at the same time, and you're going to come into the FSK menu. Probably upside down there. Sorry. You can see mine is updated to 2.4.4. So, I can't do that on camera. I'm sorry guys. I'm going to turn my FSK temp curve. Right now it's set to 50%. That's what it's going to come out of the box as. So, I felt a little bit of a dry hit there. I'm going to go down to 40%. 10% increments, why not? Exit. Let's take another two. Still vaping just fine, but at the end there I felt it start to ramp down, exactly how temperature control should be. Again, you can see my cotton is a little bit stained from my donut juice, but it's getting kind of dry. If I put this on a 40 watt mod, or any mod at 40 watts and just started vaping it, I'd probably get some pretty dry hits right now. Let's vape it. You can see the vapor coming out. Vaping fine. A little bit dry, not much flavor, but that cotton needs dripped on. It's getting dry. Any other mod would be burning the shit out of my lungs right now. Starting to get just a little bit of that scratchy, dry hit feeling. Still, you know, dry cotton, I'm vaping on it. It's getting a little bit drier now, so I'm going to adjust that FSK curve down a little bit more. I wish I could do this on camera for you guys. Sorry, this is my first video. I don't have a great camera. I'm going to try to show it to you again though. FSK temp curve. Set at 40%. I know, because I've been playing with this for so long, 37 is just about the sweet spot for this build. I'm going to show you, if you can see it, 0.57 resistance. It's Kanthal. This is a Kanthal build. That's Kanthal, baby. Still pretty dry. Let's keep vaping it. Not a whole lot of vapor. I mean, it's going up and coming down, cutting it out because it knows. I mean, my cotton looks kind of wet, but that's just mostly because it's stained. It's getting pretty dry there. My camera doesn't want to focus, but it's getting pretty dry. My build is also a little gunky. Sorry, guys. Vape some more. I mean, not much vapor. But you know what? I like that. That tells me the temperature control is working because I can vape this until it is just bone dry, which it is looking at it. It's, you know, it's pretty dry. In fact, I could probably bring my temp curve up just a little, just a hair. You know, you do have to adjust this a lot. So, I'm going to go up to 38%. So, let's talk about how I overcame the learning curve with Kanthal. First thing that I did, like I said, put on a fresh build, drip it, throw it in wattage mode. Vape it until you start feeling that initial dryness. Don't vape it completely dry because you're going to kill your lungs. Vape it until you feel that dryness. Put it at the wattage that you want, the temperature that you want. Put it on auto temperature control mode for Kanthal. It worked great. Start vaping on that dry cotton until you feel it cut down. You're going to adjust the FSK curve until it does start to cut down for you. So you've seen me adjust it down. We started at 50%, I brought it to 40, now I'm at 38. Again, I haven't dripped. This is pretty dry cotton right now. Doesn't hurt. It's just completely drying out that cotton. Just to show you that it works, let's drip some juice on it. I'm going to try to do this on camera for you, so you know there's no trickery involved. So, still set at 400 degrees, 40 watts. Oh yeah, it kicked in a lot better now. It's exactly what I like in a vape. I mean, I just adjusted that FSK curve. That's it. That's all I had to do to overcome my learning curve with Kanthal. At first, I was super frustrated with this box. Again, mine is wrapped. It's not going to look like this. I assure you, this is the HohmWrecker. I showed you the screen, menu button up top, fire button. I mean, 2.4.4, I don't know how else to identify it. Here's the box it came in. Got it from VaporCube. I don't know. You want to see the authenticity? There's a little guy right there. It's a HohmWrecker. It's a G2. You guys saw me. I mean, I wasn't getting much vapor. I haven't adjusted this FSK curve at all. I just dripped. You saw me. That's it. 38% FSK curve right now for a 0.57 ohm dual coil, 26 gauge, 8 wrap. Pretty simple. I'm a pretty simple vapor. I don't don't do the crazy 151 watts, you know. Beauty with this thing is, I could put it at 151 watts and leave it at 400 degrees. All that's going to do, ramp it up instantly. I like it at 40 watts. It feels nice to me. That's what I normally vape all of my untemp control mods on. I'm going to keep vaping this while I talk so that you guys can see where it goes back to almost no vapor, so I can prove to you that it's temp controlling. I have no thermometer. I can't tell you that this is 400 degrees. It feels like 400 degrees to me. It feels nice. It's warm. It's a good vape. So, before I bought this wrecker, I was wondering how hard it would be. And honestly, the first couple weeks that I spent with it, I was burning cotton like crazy. I was pretty pissed at this mod. You know, you got to realize that room temperature coils can change the second you touch that fire button. If you're sitting there building and you're trying to get it to cut down and you're firing those coils, your resistance is changing. So there's my first suggestion to you, Home Tech. You talked about an update that would increase the decimal place by 1 for your resistance. That would help a lot, you know. Maybe I wouldn't have to adjust the FSK curve, because when I got home from work about 10-15 minutes ago, I picked this up, I started vaping it, nothing. Didn't give me any voltage at all. I had to bump up that FSK curve, start vaping on it, and bring it back down. That's because this morning when I was vaping it, my room temperature was different than tonight when I got home from work. No big deal, you know, but it would be nice to not have to adjust it all the time. So let's talk about the things that I really like about this mod. My favorite thing about this mod, it's going to sound dumb, is mode button right here. I don't like the mods where you have to click fire 3 times. When I put fresh cotton in a build, I'm worried about clicking that 3 times to adjust. And, you know, I don't like getting into menus with my fire button. I really like a separate mode button, and I don't have any mods that does that. Another thing that I really like about this box, I like the menu system. A lot of people don't. I've seen a lot of people complain about the menu system. I like that fine tuning. I like the FSK curve adjustment. I really do. I enjoy being able to go in and say, oh, this feels just a little bit hot. I'm getting a little bit of a dry hit. Let's bump that down a little bit. You know, I like the fact that I can, right now I'm controlling temperature. I can go 1, 2, 3. Now I'm controlling my wattage. 1, 2, 3. Back to temperature. Sorry, again, my camera sucks. I can go into auto Kanthal mode, you know, because I have it right now as auto TC disabled. That's how you get into being able to set your temperature and your wattage. I can do that, and it works great. I just like having it set all the time. So another thing that I had to overcome, batteries. I'm looking at about 20 batteries down there. These batteries here, these are the only ones that I've gotten to work just spot on perfectly with. These are Sony VTC4s. The chemistry is, I believe, NMC. That's what imrbattery.com says they are. And I looked up every single one of my other batteries. I've got LGs, I've got, you know, Samsungs, I've got MXJOs. They're all different. They're not NMC chemistry, and these are, and this works awesome. It just does. So, you know, I've gone over what I liked. I've given you a suggestion. Another suggestion I could give you is round these edges out a little bit more, or maybe make a box without the engravings. You can't really see the engravings. Maybe when I hold it up into the light you can see the engravings through my wrap. A lot of people aren't going to like the engravings, but that's not a big deal to me. So really, all it comes down to is adjusting that FSK curve. It's as simple as that. I would suggest putting it in watts mode, put your build on there, vape it until your cotton starts to get dry, to where you can notice, okay, I'm getting a little bit of a dry hit. Put it in your auto TC mode, or you know, disable that auto TC mode, set your watts, set your temperature, start vaping on it. Take small little toots. Does it feel like it's starting to get dry? Well, bring down that FSK curve. When you bring it down, it's going to cut off faster. When you bring it up, it's going to, I assume, work for lower builds. I don't know. I always build around 0.5, 0.6. Sorry, sinus infection, you're going to have to deal with it. So, I mean, my cotton is still wet. You saw in the beginning of the video, before I dripped, we're going to try to vape through this though. If it doesn't work for you, try a different chemistry of battery. I'm not convinced that NMC is the only chemistry that works. I do believe they all work. I didn't spend enough time with that FSK curve. I just set it at 50 and I expected it to work all the time at 50 because that's what I saw their videos using. They suggest a tank. I wanted to be able to have a dripper that I could put by my bed and just sit there and rip on until it's completely dry and not worry about that one rip. You guys know what I'm talking about. That one rip that you don't realize that your cotton is completely wet on and it just murders the shit out of your lungs. I didn't want that anymore. I got tired of it. HohmWrecker doesn't do it. Set that temp control right. Like I said, vape it till it's getting close to dry on wattage mode. Throw it into your temperature. Set your watts and your temperature to whatever you want and start vaping until you can feel it cut off. Maybe bump it up 1% from that. You're gonna have a, success with it if it works like mine. You see it working. It's not, you saw the piddly vapor at the beginning of the video. That's when it was cutting it off on dry cotton. Still got a little ways to go. I really packed this cotton in there, so, and even setting it earlier, just in this video, in this short time period, my coils have changed, my cotton has changed, the temperature has changed, the temperature of my RDA has changed, the temperature of the freaking mod has probably changed where it's connecting to that. So, I'm starting to feel a little bit of dryness. Let's see if it burns my lungs. Nope. It's starting to cut off now, guys. You may not be able to tell the difference, but I can. A little bit less vapor. It's a lung saver, that's for sure. Right now my lungs would be hating me. It's getting a little bit weaker. No discomfort. No pain. No lung pain, guys. Nothing. Look at that cotton. Starting to dry out again. Sorry for the lighting. But, if your cotton isn't even, if one of your coils is still wet and the other one is dry, you're probably going to get a dry hit. Build quality, build consistency, build, I don't know, with dual coils, you've got to make sure that both of those coils are acting the exact same way. Very small amount of vapor compared to what it was. It's cutting it off. It's temp controlling, guys. This is Kanthal. I don't know how else to prove to you. I can show you the Kanthal, but I mean I can pick up any spool of wire and say, hey, this is Kanthal in here. It works for me. If I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry, but let's go over it one more time. Drip on to your rebuildable if that's what you're using it for. Get your tank to where it's close to being empty if you want it to cut off. Put it in wattage mode. Get it to that point where it's about to go dry. Adjust that FSK down or up. If you're not getting a satisfying vape, if you pick this up and it's wet and you hit it and nothing's coming out, bring that temp up. Bring that temp curve rather up. If you're picking it up and it's dry cotton and it's just burning the shit out of your lungs, bring it down. Start with 10% increments. You can fine tune it. Hell, you don't have to adjust the FSK curve. You can bring your temperature down. You can bring your wattage down. I would suggest temperature because wattage is just ramp up time in my mind. Put in some different battery chemistries. Try them out. See what works the best for you, because every battery I have down there acts differently in this mod. This thing is measuring completely different from what we're used to. I've been vaping for 4 years now, and this is nothing like anything I've ever used. So, you know, pros, I really like the menu button up here. I really like it. I like the menu system on this. I like the accuracy. I like being able to 3-click, set my wattage, 3-click, set my temperature. You know, a lot of temperature control mods you can only set one or the other. I haven't used temperature control before because I can't get the fucking thing to work. Sorry, excuse my language. You know? A couple things that I would improve, like I said, maybe put one out without the engravings. Maybe put out that update that reads your resistance to another decimal place. Make it so that you can set your FSK curve and forget it. You know, honestly, I don't think that that's ever going to happen because Kanthal is very, very fiddly. And room temperature, coil temperature, mod temperature, battery temperature, amount of cotton, wear of coils, coil temperature, amount of coils, the type of dripper, everything is going to change because Kanthal is something we've never temp controlled before. So, you know, I hope I've covered everything in this video. Let's give it another go. Very little vapor. I'm going to attempt to show you guys one more time what my FSK curve is set at. I haven't changed it. FSK temp curve. %. It's where it's working right now. Sometimes it's at 47%, sometimes it's at 30%, sometimes it's at 52%, you know? There's a lot of variables, and if you want to set it and forget it, then you might not be able to. But maybe later down the line they will. I was pretty upset with this box when I first got it. Give it some time, guys. It might just grow on you like it did on me. This cotton, I'll show you again. I've shown you my cotton like 18 times. I know you probably don't care at this point. It looks kind of wet, but that's just because it's old. I probably need to rewick this, honestly. It's been working so good for me though that I don't want to. You saw the piddly vapor, you want to see it again? Okay. Temp control mode. I can vape this as long as I want. I can hold that button until it says, you know, safety auto off. That's another thing I like. It cuts off at about, what, 15 seconds or something. Dry cotton. Let's drip again. I'll show you the difference yet again. Nothing has changed. No FSK curves required here. No changing. I've got it dialed in for right now. In a couple hours, that might change. In, 20 minutes, that might change. For right now, it's temp controlling, and it didn't take me that long to get there. Don't think that this is, a huge pain in the ass, because it's a click, a couple clicks, another couple clicks, try it, change it, adjust it, So I just dripped. You guys saw the piddly vapor. Let's show you it working at its full, I don't think it's going to 40 watts because I have it set at 400 degrees. I think it's showing me 33 watts, but still is a satisfying vape. I know you can see the difference. It's working. It's working really, really fucking well too. I personally, I like Sony's in this. That's what I like. I mean, I like this wrap too. It's kind of cool. Little owl on there. Got it from J-Wraps. I like it. Not that the other mod was really that ugly to me. I just like wrapping my mods. I mean, here's my Sigelli. It's got the silicone sleeve on it. I like to protect my shit. It's the only real reason I wrapped it. If you're skeptical about this mod, and you want temperature control, I know it works. Try it out. Try a few different batteries in it. Try a few different builds. Make sure your builds are as good as you can get them, as consistent, as even, especially on dual coils. Single coil is probably going to be a lot easier. I honestly never ever once used this with a tank like they said that I should. I'm stubborn. I got mad at it. I wanted it to just come out of the box, update it, plug in my batteries, put it at 400 degrees, 50% FSK curve, and start vaping and have it just instantly cut off. Well, might not work that way. You're going to have to adjust it a little bit. If you put in bone dry cotton and try to do the cotton dry burn test, it might not work how you want it to work. Once you figure out that FSK curve, it will. I can guarantee you, if I put dry cotton in this thing right now, it wouldn't burn it. Because you saw, it's starting to cut this off right now. A little bit weaker, but you know what? It's saving my lungs. It doesn't hurt. If I put in dry cotton in this, I'd be moving those coils slightly, and it would change my FSK setting. This atomizer is warm. That would change my FSK setting. It would change how it reads your coils. I mean, there's a lot going on under here, guys. There's a lot. You really have to adjust. You have to adjust and adjust and adjust until you find your spot. When you do enough adjusting, you get used to it and you learn it. Once you learn it, then you can vape with temperature control, and it works great. Cutting off. I can just sit here. I don't know if you can hear that. My camera kind of sucks, but I mean, it's cutting it off. It sees that that's dry. I can just take a toot right now. It's not going to be completely burnt. You can look at my cotton. Didn't destroy it just holding that for you guys. It's cutting it off. See? Nothing. Fire button is still held. My cotton is getting pretty gunky though. Sorry about that. One more time just for good measure. Let's do another drip. I'll wrap this up. I've been rambling. I'm sorry guys. I'm trying to cover all the bases. trying to help anybody out, you know. I might be oversimplifying it because it was really complicated when I started, and it's really not that complicated. I would personally suggest to one of my buddies that picks this up, go get some Sonys, go get some NMC, you know, chemistry batteries, Sony VTC4s are what I'm using in this right now, and adjust that FSK curve. Like I said probably 4 times already in this video. Get your cotton nice and wet. 3 clicks. Put it in wattage mode. Right now, it's just straight wattage mode. 3 more clicks. I can set it to whatever temp I want. I'm going to put it back on Kanthal. Boom. Right back to 40 watts. Right back to 400 degrees. It just dripped. Let's see how it does. It's good. I mean, I know this juice. I vape this juice a lot, and this is exactly how I like to vape it. It's not too little. The temperature control is not limiting my enjoyment of this vape, this juice. This is my standard build. I have this in everything, minus my tanks that I have. You know, I don't have a lot of suggestions for home tech as to improve this thing. Hopefully, when all these videos of these people that are doing the contest like I am start rolling out, hopefully it'll help people, because that's what the real focus of this whole contest is to help people figure it out. And I hope that I can contribute to that, because I was about to throw this thing out the window. I wasn't very happy with it. You know, I could put it in wattage mode and it could work like the other 7 boxes that I have, but I wanted temp control, and nothing worked until I threw those Sonys in here. Once I did, it just started working one day. I was amazed. I started playing with my FSK curve. I fine-tuned it. I got it right where it's going to cut off on dry cotton. I bumped it up 1% from that. 1%. It worked for me. I'm showing it to you 3 times now. It works, you just got to adjust it. That's my biggest tip. Spend the time, adjust it. Figure out where your FSK curve is going to be. And don't think that that's going to be there forever, because it's not. The next morning it's going to be different. 20 minutes later it's going to be different. You know, you throw in some different batteries, it's probably going to be different. Throw on a new atomizer, you're going to have to adjust it. That would be my one suggestion. Maybe try to make it a little more user friendly, but I don't think it's going to work as well as it's working for me if they lock that resistance in, because, you know, adjusting it is how you get it to work so good. It's a great vape. It's a great box. It's a little bit frustrating at first, but have some patience. Bear with it. You'll learn to love it. I do. I'm not a cloud chucker. I'm a flavor chaser. I like 40 watts. You know, my clouds aren't huge, but you can see the difference when it starts to cut off. It's probably going to start to cut off again here soon. It just works. You just got to adjust it. It's my biggest, you know, that and the batteries. Those are my 2 biggest, you know, those are my 2 biggest suggestions to you guys. Are spend the time with it, get your FSK, get to where you're comfortable navigating the menu, changing that curve, and you're going to be golden. I mean, this thing, no dry hits, none at all. And this is a dripper, and my build probably isn't perfect. My cotton, probably not perfect. I'm not a perfect builder. I know a lot of you guys are going to look at my build and go, man, that's not a very good build. Well, works for me. Starting to cut off right now as we speak. Temperature control, it works. HohmTech, thank you. Thank you for all your support. You know, I was a naysayer at first. I left a couple comments. I wasn't real happy. And then I threw in those Sonys and everything came together. Everything started to work. So I'm going to stop rambling. I hope I covered everything. Greg P, thanks again guys. HohmWrecker G2. It works. It really does.